Welcome. This is the Heroes podcast. I'm back with someone from the UK. We've got Ismail Irfan. How are you?
I'm perfectly fine. Thank you very much for having me, Andre. How are you?
Well, thanks very much. I'm really excited because I've been looking forward to have this conversation, and I'll intro you straight away with a few sentences so people get to know who we are going to talk to. And guys, if you want high ticket clients, if you want your brand to stand out, probably this is the time to listen very, very carefully. So Ismail specializes in helping business owners with the effective execution of online sales and marketing, enabling them to create a business that attracts high value clients. Who does not want high value clients? His ideal clients typically depend on heavily on referrals prior to engaging with him and may lack well-defined marketing and sales systems. So he's helping them enhance their online presence and develop robust systems for marketing and sales success. Welcome on this conversation, on this interview. Do you want to just give us a bit of a story of yours and what struggles did you have before you became this wonderfully looking, well done man helping people to get high ticket
Exactly,
sales?
exactly. And a lot of listeners will be surprised because this is one of the stories that I rarely share, but I'd love to share it with your audience, of course. And so I come from a third world country. And because say your podcast is very well connected to self-worth, I think this one story will help your audience the most. And it is when I was there, when I was struggling in that third world country, and when you are in that environment where you are struggling to get through the month, pay the bills, and just cover the basics, eh, that is the time when you really lose yourself a lot of the time. That is when you lose yourself at such a young age. If you are literally thrown in a circumstance where you have to figure it out without anyone's help, and that's happened at a fairly young age when my dad lost his business, and then I had to go and find a job. And this is one of the reasons a lot of my clients also lose their jobs. Is when I worked at the job for 18 months, I was treated miserably, right? And I had no clue of my self-worth. I didn't know who I am, right? I didn't know who I am. I had no skills, I had no experience, I had no nothing. And so whatever my boss said or whatever the other partner said, later on I had partnerships. So whatever they said, I thought it was true. If they said I'm not worth it or I'm too young to do something, I thought it was true. But I wanna tell your audience one thing is whether you have any skills, whether you have any experience, whether you have any abilities, no one has the right to treat you miserably. No one has the right to try to control you, right? Even if you have nothing, you are still worth much more than you think. So coming from there, then mhm,
I'm wondering,
coming from
what was your experience? Like, what did you go through when, you had to go to work? How old were you? Like, what was going through your mind while you being treated miserably? Because probably a lot of people are going through that experience right now, and they don't do it for 18 months.
mm,
I guess, they are still in it day by day, grinding it out.
mm,
What was it for you?
exactly. It was a nightmare because I had no weekends off and I was working, and I have no problem having no weekends off. I'm not someone who will run from my work. I love what I do. And now I take weekends off, but at that time, it was a nightmare to literally go to work. I got sick. Being sick became a new norm for me. I got ill more often than I used to. So it basically, with my mental health, it also affected my physical health, right? And then, yes, I learned a lot from that job. It was a part of my destiny. But what I would have done better if I knew this, I would have negotiated better. I would have asked for a better better salary. I should have asked for more respect than I was getting, right? This is like, even if you have no skill, you still can ask. And this is one of the things that I teach one of my all of my clients, is there is never a money problem. There is always an asking problem. If you are not making enough money, you are either not asking often or you are not asking enough, right? This is one of the breakthroughs my clients have, is I make them, hey, you know what, go through your whole entire list, all the contacts. We are not going to generate any new leads right now. In the beginning, when I work with my clients, let's look at your existing network and see who can you contact, who can you ask, who can you say, hey, would you like to jump on a call? Hey, would you like to have a discussion about XYZ? And from their existing network, when they start asking, the money starts to show up. So one of the things people with low self-esteem do not do is they do not ask, because they automatically assume that they are going to get a no.
And what was it for you? So you mentioned you're coming from a third world country, and and obviously there must be massive differences in how much you earn now as opposed to how much you were earning at that time. And it's already, I guess, a big psychological shift. But well, how have this journey started? How did you break out of that job? Because like that's a big one for a lot of people to feeling locked up into, well, I
Hmm.
sometimes call it slavery, but what happened? What was going on? What did you do? Who did you reach out to? Tell us, what was the shift itself?
Absolutely. So I was making, by the way, just so you know, the listeners, I was making $200 a month. And if I got lucky, I would make a sale or two, and I would that the most I had made at that time in a month was around 600, $700 a month. Usually it would be anywhere between 200 to $300, mostly 200. And so I got so exhausted, I got so overwhelmed, because it was always work. It was remote work, by the way. It was always work, 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 no weekends off, and tremendous pressure. And it was a struggle. And for me, the only choice was, and so I wanted to start a business. I had registered a business in the UK. At that time, I was not in the UK. So I had registered a business in the UK, and I was struggling to even get an hour a week to work on my stuff, because that's how much I was working on the job. Again, this is one of the mistakes that most people make, is they try to think, hey, okay, I have 10 hours. Sorry, I have 12 hours in my day that I can work. I will work 8 hours at my job and 4 hours on my business. But now you are only managing time. You're not managing energy. Okay, that is a very strong aspect that most people miss, is you don't only have to manage your time, you also have to manage your energy, your mental energy, your physical energy, right? So the only choice I had was to leave that job, and I did. I left the job and then started my own business. It took me, I think, I asked, I sold to more than, I got on conversations, I did meetings, I did networking, I did all of the stuff that I knew. I got, I think, more than 37 no's, 37 long conversation. Like, it was not like reaching out to just on messages getting a no. Uh, I cannot even count how many no's I got on messages. The amount of no's I got from my hot clients, what you call a hot client, like, hey, they are gonna buy. I got up around 37 before I got my first client. And that was a three-figure client, by the way. That was not a lot of money. And then I kept progressing, progressing, progressing. And from there, and then I kept building it from there. But one mistake I again I made was charging too low for my services, charging low rates for my services, because I thought I was not worth it, or I was too young, or that, or this, right? So again, this is one more thing for your listeners, is if you have a skill, you are already worth so much. But the reason people do not respect you It's not because you are not worth it. It's because of the amount you are charging. So if someone is charging 700 pounds and the other person is charging 10,000 pounds, unfortunately and fortunately, psychologically, people will automatically respect the one more, the one that charges 10,000. That's just how people's minds works. People think that expensive is more important. It's more luxurious, and what's not expensive is not important. Right. And when you get clients, this is very true, and no disrespect to anyone, but when you get clients who pay you very little money, they want you to change their lives. They are expecting the world from you, right? And you don't get that respect that you deserve. When you get high ticket clients, this is one of the things. When you get high ticket clients, and it's, by the way, it's the same person. It's not that you have to target a completely different audience to get high ticket clients. It's the same thing. A lot of my clients, when they start working with me, they think that they have to target a completely different market to get high ticket clients. No, the person who is paying you £1,000 a month, $1,000 a month, is the same person who can pay you $10,000 a month. It's not that, a lot of the times, 9 out of 10 times, it's not that you are speaking to the wrong person. It's that you are not being the right person for them. They are usually the right person. If it is, are you being the right person for them? Are you even asking for more for what you are worth? If you are not asking, you are not going to get it. And the behavior changes because, of course, it's how the brain works.
Would you say, and what I hear from you, tell me if I'm wrong, you're talking about perceived value and obviously positioning. So obviously, if you if one in business is able to say congruently the price, and maybe it's double that they whatever that they charged before, but the perceived value is still above it, then probably clients will have no problem paying that amount. How
Exactly.
do you help
And
people increase that perceived value? Because that's where customers are either pay you or run away, yeah?
yes, your perceived value. Look, here's what people buy. People buy your way of being.
Hmm.
People are not buying your bullet points. People are not buying your systems, your methods. Yes, that is a part of your offer. That is very essential. That is essential. That is very important. But that's not what they are buying. If you are selling a high ticket service or a product, they are buying your way of being. Just like we often talk about when people are buying an iPhone. It's not that it's the best phone out there. It's that people are buying status. How their way of being changes when they have got an iPhone in their hands. Exactly like that, they are buying your way of being. So they are buying. I would question you: how can you inject your personality in everything that you are doing? Right. And then again, it goes back to your positioning, how you're positioning yourself, how you are presenting yourself, right? Your way of speaking, your way of being, your way of dressing. All of that contributes, these tiny little factors, all of these contributes into showing your client that this is the value, right? But the most important part, yes, there are marketing systems, yes, there are sales strategies, yes, there are um, a lot of the things that we can talk about for hours and hours. But the most important thing is for whoever is listening, listen, embrace who you are and inject every bit of it to everything you are doing in every bit of your business, your website, your social media. Once you understand that your way of being, your personality is what they are buying. For example, if you are a business coach, y- you are not the only business coach out there, right? And there's not much differentiation that you can create in your offerings. Like you cannot guarantee, hey, I'm gonna make you 100,000 in the next 1 week. That's not possible. That's idiotic. But the way you can differentiate is by doing things your way, because you have a different way of being and a different way of doing things. Everyone has.
Yeah, it's powerful. And would you, as you mentioned, $100,000 or pounds a week. Well, it's a fairly large number. Maybe for some people it's not.
Exactly.
But do you believe in giving guarantees to get sales, or you would rather just send someone to be themselves or himself or herself and rather carry the quirkiness to get the deal?
Hmm. If you are a coach, if that's the product, like if I'm buying a camera or a mobile phone, that's a completely different story. I'd like to have a warranty, guarantee, whatever it is, right?
Hmm.
But if you are a coach, and a lot of coaches need to understand this, that it is not you who can produce the results for them. And if you think that you can produce the results for them, if you're a mentor, you're a coach, you are a consultant, and you think you can produce the results for them, you are so wrong. And hear me out. Coaching, consulting, mentoring, that is like a two-way relationship, right? You both work together. Okay. If I give you something, Andre, or you give me something, and I come to you, if you teach me, hey, Smile, this is what you have to do, and I come to you next day, I don't do it, right? And I say, hey, I want my guarantee, I want my money back. But you will say, hey, I've given you my time, I've given you my energy, I've taught you what you have to do, right? You have done your job. But still, I'm coming to you and saying, hey, it's not worked. You will say, okay, it's not worked because you did not work. So it is not a one-way thing. You give guarantees when the product has to work. The product alone can work. That is when you give guarantees. So like my mobile phone, right? I have a warranty for it for a certain period of time, right? I have a warranty, not a guarantee, but a warranty, right? It can function on its own, right? I can do whatever I want with it. I don't have to program it. But in coaching, in consulting, whether you are a creative, remember that you cannot make it work for them. And if you are taking responsibility, if you are giving a guarantee, and if you are taking a responsibility for their success, you are playing the wrong game.
Hmm. Thanks for sharing that. Um, so what's unique about your approach? Uh, Obviously, there's a few people out there doing something similar. How do you
Mhm.
differentiate yourself? What is sort of the value proposition? I think that's the word here that helps you stand out or be different from anyone else. And you could come back with the example in business coaching because they people get that question like, why would I work with you?
Mm, exactly. Exactly. That's a very good question. Very good question. And so here's the thing. A lot of what I do doesn't make sense to a common mind, right? So when my clients work with me, they don't love me at first. Of course, when they work with me, they love me, but then when they get in, they are like kind of questioning things, right? So let me go back to a few years back. I was speaking to this gentleman, and he said, I asked him, hey, what would you look for in a mentor? And he said, you should like your mentor, but you should not love them. What he meant by that, if you love your mentor, that means whatever your mentor is telling you, you already know. They are not challenging your current mindset. They are not challenging your current approach. That means you are not growing because growing is so uncomfortable. It's so greatly uncomfortable that if your mentor is not challenging you, if they are not challenging your mindset, your approach, your current strategies, then and if you are not hating them, and I speak with when I speak with my mentor, and we often have a conversation about this, and I say, you know what, I hate you daily. I hate you every single day. But you are right. You are so right, and that is why I work with you. And this is the exact type of relationship that I have with my client. Is they love me, but they also hate me often. A lot of the times people have People do not have a coach or a mentor, they have a friend who gives them validation of everything they are doing. And the second thing that I do with my clients is I'm not going to send you when you work with me. I never send my clients a, hey, this is my program, this is my presentation.
Hmm.
Like I will put you in that program. No, everything I do with my clients, we co-create the offer. It's literally on the sales call or a discovery call or whatever you call it, that we co-create the package and they are like, oh, so is this how you work? I'm like, exactly. I'm not gonna fit you into a program.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that insight that uh and I use that as well. This cookie cutter approach that hey, I have it worked out from A to Z. Uh People are all different.
Yes.
They have different needs, they have uh different aspects of the gaps. Um
Mhm.
and also that was a wonderful insight that you shouldn't be loving your your coach or mentor because that's a friend and friends are not pushing you that far yet. I think if you're
Exactly.
hiring someone to help you, then it's about 10x your I get
Exactly.
your results, 10x your reach, and probably in monetary terms as well, explode uh, your business. Or you, I would say, you're probably wasting your time, or you are just well
Like if you need someone to
chit
speak
chatting.
with and have a chat, yeah, have a chit chat, get your mind clear, and just a friend to clear out your mind and have a fresh mind, then it's okay. It's all good. But if you wanna exactly as you said, and Andre, this is exactly how you work. You create bespoke packages for your clients, completely bespoke. So you know this very, very well. Um, that type of relationship always ends up as a feeling when you end that relationship with that coach, with that mentor who is essentially who is technically a friend of yours, not a not a mentor of yours. It ends
Hmm.
up feeling, oh, something has worked. And when you really, after a year or two, you look back at it, you see, oh no, that was just conversations. That's all it was.
Yeah, thanks for that. I realized in the last few years that when there is a coaching relationship and that actually get the result for them, most of these relationships tend to turn into a friendship because two people, one pushing the other and getting to them at a certain level, definitely then uh, the relationship tends to change. And I found myself in, and tell me if that is your experience too. I found myself in friendships that became more of a business partnership or more of an affiliate partnership where they've known exactly how I work, what I do, but I was probably not the right person to coach them anymore because they now at that point needed
Exactly.
someone else. So they needed to move on as far as mentoring and coaching. What would you say to this?
To a friend becoming your mentor, or a friend becoming your client, is that what you're saying?
No, I said when one has a client and of course they work together, say 6 months to a year, but of course through this
Mm-hmm.
relationship there is mutual respect, there is more and more results. uh,
Yes.
there could be a point where the relationship turns into a friendship, and I would say that's probably the time to move on. And obviously, if the client has reached that point of target goals, whatever it is, it's time to change this relationship from coaching to friendship or business partnership or whatever is it.
Exactly. And well, it doesn't really I agree with you on the second part. You can be friends with your, like, you can feel comfortable, like it shouldn't feel like a, hey bro, how's the day going? That's not how the relationship with the client should feel like. There can be some friendship to some extent. You should feel comfortable with them. You should feel very comfortable to share all what you are going through. But um, you every one of us after some point need a different vehicle, I would say. Right. So I work with someone for 2 years, 3 years, and then if I feel that relationship is not serving me anymore in that aspect of my life where it should be serving me, then I would change. I would gladly walk away from that relationship thinking that, hey, it has served me. But sometimes some relationships take 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 5 years to transform. So your signal to change would be when you feel, hey, okay, so this relationship it's not serving me anymore. It's not accelerating my growth in the area of my life that I first hired them for, or the one I was working in. So I've reached the maximum level here, and now I should move on to the next one who can serve me better in this area. So completely agree with you.
Yeah, wonderful. What is making you go into business each day? Like what is driving you now? What's the next goal that you've had in front of you?
Mm, that is a very beautiful question. So here is the thing. When you work with people to help them make more money, right? When most of my clients come to me, they are selling offers for 2,000, 3,000, right? And when they end up working with me for the same offer, they are charging prices like 15,000, 20,000, right? And going from there, 2,000 for that offer, 15,000. What happens is not just their lives change, but their mindset changes for the lifetime. It's not like they will benefit from this service for the time they work with me. No, it is a completely different mindset. When you move from selling a $2,000 service to a $20,000 service, you're a completely different person, right? And then the financial freedom you have. I have met a lot of people who cried on the call because of financial stress. People, that is how desperate they were. They literally cried, complaining, hey, this is what's happening. And again, it's their fault to some extent that they are not really doing some things, but they are also not taught that, right? They are not taught how to get to that level, not only mindset wise, but also strategically. Right. At one point in my business, I was so desperate. I was like, I am happy to work 16 hours a day, but just tell me what to do to make more money, in my business. The how here. Most people know they know the how, but it's not, they've been trying for years and it's not working. So when I see people really financially free, and when you become financially free, your relationships improve, your the way you live, it improves, your lifestyle improves, right? Do you know that a lot of divorces happen because of financial stress? If I
Absolutely.
can save only one of that, if I can save only one marriage, that would be beautiful. That would feel like I have fulfilled the purpose of my life.
Absolutely. What I hear from you is then you really build freedom through
It is about freedom.
earning 10x or a lot more for people. Because obviously, if I can 10x the amount I'm earning per time or per session, that means for the next 9 hours, I can do whatever I want. That's pretty much
Exactly.
the outcome that you deliver, yeah?
Exactly. And the time freedom, of course, I forgot to talk about the fine time freedom you have. Um, the time freedom you have, and it's not like it's not only about money. Some people tell me, hey, you are all about money. No, I am not all about money. It's that when you charge someone more, if I charge you 2,000 for something, let's say you charge me 2000 for something. I will show up. I will take some action. I will do stuff. I'm not saying I won't work hard, but I will work hard. You are my coach. If we become if you become my coach, I will work hard. I will do what you say. But if you charge me 20,000, or if you charge someone an average person 20,000, now they will do everything they can to make this a success. Because coaches, when they work with their clients, a lot of the time the client pays so little that they are still in their comfort zone. When they pay more, they show up as a completely different person. The high ticket clients are completely different people. It's the same people, but the mindset changes. And
So
also, look,
commitment.
here's the thing.
Hmm.
Commitment, exactly. Exactly. You said that.
So yeah, I hear you because that makes the difference, I believe, when it comes to business results and really showing up in business, that level of commitment or how far they have pushed themselves to even get front of that coach or mentor is taking you
Yeah,
over that edge to
exactly.
expand massively.
And that
So
becomes the only option for them to make this a success.
yeah, it's beautiful because yeah, that's what my mentor sometimes says, cut all of the exits and you will have only one option to succeed. And then there
Burn the
is
boards.
no B and C plan. Uh,
Exactly.
I was thinking, how could they connect you? All of your details will be under the video, but if you want to share with us your website and the easiest way to engage or follow your content, uh, what would that be?
Hmm. When is this podcast going to get published, by the way?
It will be published probably about 4 to 6 weeks.
4 to 6 weeks. Okay. So what people can do is, if they want to learn more about my approach, if they want to learn more about me, they can connect with me on LinkedIn. Of course, you will add the LinkedIn link in the video somewhere here or there. Also, what they can do is you can go to Lishu Media /PPPP. So LIXUEMEDIA.com/PPPP. That's predictable profits with premium prices. Usually I have this masterclass going on because people love it so much. It's free. Um, I'm unsure at what time or date I will be holding a masterclass when you're hearing this podcast, but there will be one for sure. So you can register for it, and I will see you there.
Thanks very much. I'm really keen to to have a look at this masterclass, as you said, uh, because I want to know more myself. And tell me, like, if things go really well for you in the next 3 to 5 years, what would you be celebrating?
What would I be celebrating? Mostly I would be celebrating my clients' wins, the impact I'm making. I've not made as much as I'd like to, but so yeah, there's a long way to go.
Hmm.
I would most probably be celebrating the freedom. So I won't take his name, but one of my clients messaged me and told me just yesterday how his relationships improved after his financial condition got better, right after he learned. And by the way, he was the exact. It happened after he came to one of my master classes. It's free, but even for my clients, that is how much impact it made. So he got the confidence and he got the strategies out of it, that really made him get his very first high ticket client, and that made all the difference for him. So that is what I would most probably be celebrating. But if I have a something else going on, that depends.
Wonderful. And I was wondering, what have I not asked you uh, that you really wanted to share today?
Hmm. That is a very good question. So here is the thing. If I can leave your listeners with one golden nugget here, I would leave you with this one. Here is the thing. The way a lot of people think about this is something along the lines of when A happens, I will do B, right? When this happens, I will do this. And the way the universe works is when you do B, I will make A happen. So when I have this, I will do this. When I have that, I will do this. It doesn't work like that. You have to first be willing to do B. So let's say I'm saying, hey, you know what? So this is what I did. I had around I had some money and I invested in my coach, right? After that, I was left with only 500 pounds. No savings, no investments, no nothing. That is when I invested in my very first coach. I had only 500 pounds. And at that time, this is what she taught me. She was like, it doesn't work like that. If you wait for the money to show up and then you do all the things that you want to do, it will never show up because that's not how the universe works. So you first have to invest and then you see the money coming in. You first have to do it. That doesn't mean you go out and just invest in any coach. She was a very trusted, um, one of the very trusted connections of mine. So you don't just go out and invest in any coach. You do your due diligence, of course. Um, and then I had my 500 pounds, and she asked me to invest in the software that costs $100 a month. So I was about to be left with 400 pounds. And I was like, are you crazy? So I sent her a voice message and I said, hey, you know what? I'm not going to do that. We are going to go for something cheaper. And I was expecting some empathy from her. But here she came. Boom. Like, hey, Ismail, what person are you being? By saying that, are you really being that person who wants to make 20,000 a month, 50,000 a month? Are you being that person by telling me that I'm going to go for something cheaper? How would you act? How would you take action? And what would you believe if you already had the money? And we did it. I acted as if I already had the money in my bank account. And then there was a time when it was not a movie scene that I immediately had it, but I had it and it worked. So don't wait for the circumstances to get better for you to do something. You have to first do it.
Wow, Ismail, what amazing story it is, because it really is a message for people to take that commitment and seek
Exactly.
no exits, because that's where results come from. So thank you very much for
Exactly.
your
Burn
time.
the boards.
Thanks very much for your time, and I hope to see you again. And guys, I've heard it's 16th of December now, but there probably is a monthly masterclass that you can show up.
It's 14th of December right now.
Oh, sorry, 14th of December. Obviously, there's another month, and there'll be another one. Reach out, follow Ismail, and engage. Because if you want to massively increase your income, then you will need someone who has been able to help others. And thank you very much for your time.
Absolutely. Thank you, Andrew, for having me. Thank you very much.
Thanks.